New York City Democrat Mayor Eric Adams has decided we're all full here. There's no room at the inn, and the feds need to be dispersing illegals throughout look, let's just make it even. And they could just disperse them all throughout the country a little more evenly, which is interesting because back in 2021, he felt very differently. He said that immigrants are to be protected in his sanctuary city. He said we should protect our immigrants, period. Yes, New York City will remain a sanctuary city under an Adams administration. Now, it's been fascinating watching him slowly change his tune. In 2022, he seemed to accept that his city would need to house more migrants than he had room for and the potential impact it could have on his constituents. Watch.
And we can't have the historical, I believe people should be housed, but just don't house them on my block. Everyone's block is going to be impacted by this. And so we have to add our advocacy with our ability to help our neighbors. And we need everyone on board with this, because as I stated last week, our schools are going to be impacted. Our healthcare system is going to be impacted. Our infrastructure is going to be impacted. But we're willing to do our job, and we're going to do our job, and we're going to need all New Yorkers to be with us on this.
Well, over the weekend on Face the Nation, he decided to take just his much larger step back. He says, look, instead of burdening one city with an influx of a bunch of illegals, I mean, the federal government probably needs to send them other places. And $30 million in funds, that's not enough to pay for all of these migrants coming to New York City, the sanctuary city. Watch.
On the question of decompression, would it be more helpful if it was the federal government directing where migrants are moved to throughout the United States, instead of you as New York City's mayor trying to figure out where you can send them within your state?
Yes, it would. We have 108,000 cities, villages, towns. If everyone takes a small portion of that, and if it's coordinated at the border to ensure that those who are coming here to this country in a lawful manner is actually moved throughout the entire country, it is not a burden on one city. And the numbers need to be clear. We received over 70,000 migrant asylum seekers in our city. 42,000 are still in our care. If this is properly handled at the border level, this issue can be resolved while we finally get Congress, particularly the Republican Party, to deal with a comprehensive immigration policy.
Right. It's just that you signed up to be a sanctuary city, and that's part of being a sanctuary city. It's in fact, the entire reason to deem yourself a sanctuary city is because you recognize that the rest of the country does not accept illegal immigrants, mostly because they're, illegal. And you are the ones who are saying, we're opening our doors for all of these illegal immigrants. So I would agree with him only to the extent that we should be shipping illegal immigrants to all of the sanctuary cities. I'm happy if they want to disperse them equally throughout the sanctuary cities, but I don't know why we need to make sure that there's equal distribution among the entire country when those of us who are sane and reasonable said for a very long time now, you can't just allow illegals into the country just ad hoc with no ramifications. This is not a good system. Why should we have to take them?
Yeah. Isn't it funny how he'll walk it back 3 steps and then go, okay, now walk it back 3 more steps, but never address the real problem. The border's open, dude. And it's your guy and your party that keeps the border open. So there aren't enough cities in America to keep taking the people of the world, right? On and on. And by the way, where's this $30 million number coming from? That's the biggest farce. Because he's a sanctuary city, they have received hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars over the last 5 years from the federal government, purely because they signed up to be a sanctuary city, like Chicago and Los Angeles and all these others. You've received taxpayer funds from all of America pouring into your city for the last 5 years. You're a liar. I thought New York has a brand. Are you true to your own brand, buddy? Your brand was, we're open, bring them all. So we're bringing them. And I say, keep sending them. Send them into Tribeca. Send him to Robert De Niro's neighborhood, to his block in Tribeca. Send him to Chinatown and see what happens then. If they're going to deal with the migrants, you're going to have a little bit of unrest, I think, among the people of New York. But hey, you asked for it and you took the money, like in COVID. And now when it's time to pay your share as a sanctuary city, now it's like, oh, wait a minute. This is a little, and by the way, you're not even close to the numbers that El Paso, Del Rio, Laredo, McAllen, Brownsville, okay? How about we ship all the Chinese to you that's currently setting up illegal marijuana farms in Texas, shipping weed out of the country? How about we bring them to come grow weed in Brooklyn? And we should do that. Any abandoned building in Brooklyn right now, ship the Chinese up there, go grow weed in Brooklyn. You know, come on, let's do that. Now let's double down. You want it to be open. Let's bring it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it. I want to switch gears here and talk Jeffrey Epstein. So there was a report over the weekend about a blackmail scheme between Jeffrey Epstein and Bill Gates. So apparently, this is the report, Jeffrey Epstein discovered that Bill Gates had an affair with a Russian bridge player and later appeared to use his knowledge to threaten one of the world's richest men, of course, Bill Gates. The Microsoft co-founder met the woman around 2010 when she was in her 20s. Epstein met her in 2013 and later paid for her to attend software coding school. In 2017, Epstein emailed Bill Gates and asked to be reimbursed for the cost of the course. According to people familiar with the matter, the woman, whose name is Mila Antona, declined to comment on Bill Gates, but said she did not know who Epstein was when they met. She added that, "I am disgusted with Epstein and what he did." And then your thoughts? You know more about Jeffrey Epstein than most.
Yeah, in 2007, we were working this case when Acosta let him off. And then again, it surfaced later. But then she should ask why Gates and Clinton are part of the Red Shoe Brigade, why all of them are seen, hanging in Jeffrey Epstein's house. And man, these were his buddies. They traveled with him. They benefited. These are friends with benefits, sexual benefits. They benefited. And Jeffrey obviously also leveraged the system. He understood that, hey, blackmail works. And you've got stuff on me, I'm going to have stuff on you. And this is how they played. And there's so much evidence across the board how they triangulated dirt on Hollywood stars, Hollywood executives. They would put a guy on a plane. There would be women on the plane, whether they touched him or didn't touch him, they filmed, and it's blackmail. And it's
you
like,
say
we got
they.
Yeah.
They would put
Robert Maxwell. And this is, nobody wants to talk about this, Sarah.
That's why
Robert Maxwell. And I have, this is fact. This is why Robert was floating in the ocean off his own yacht with his daughter on the boat, Ghislaine. Robert Maxwell actually targeted Jeffrey. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't even in the top 400 traders in New York. He was a nobody. Robert Maxwell introduced Epstein to all the big players in New York, helped him build his book. Money managers talk about their book. Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, introduced Ghislaine to Jeffrey when she was a teenager. He built Epstein, okay? So the they is Robert Maxwell, some buddies in Israel, because that dude is former Israeli, some friends in France, in the leadership of the nation, right? And the Vatican, in the leadership of the Vatican. Yes, Pope John Paul, you got something to answer for, not just the royal family. They have dirt on one another, and this is what they did. So blackmail him, hey, I paid for her, I know you were with her, reimburse me. And then they called his number. And they said, you do it or we do it. When he went in. And this is why the Ghislaine story is quiet, but nobody wants to talk about Robert Maxwell and the rest of the net that aided and abetted Epstein, that covered for him, that protected him. Can you really think that a guy can do what he did by himself? No, he's got judges and lawyers and big Bill Gates money men, Soros, the Rockefellers. Right? He's got these guys who have covered for him until they potentially, maybe, were going to be exposed when he was finally in custody. He should have been in 2007. And then they started ousting him, like they ousted Harvey Weinstein in Hollywood. They all did it with Harvey. Yeah. Right? But as soon as there's some noise, they go, oh, sacrifice him.
Right. I want throw that picture of Bill Gates and this. I can't get over how much she looks like Greta Thunberg.
A lot.
I can't. I saw it and now I can't unsee it. That looks like the spitting image of Greta Thunberg. Big fan of this show, by the way. She does not miss an episode of the News and Why It Matters. I don't know if you guys know that.
Sarah, just one
Yeah,
thing.
go ahead.
Teenagers don't just hang with billionaires, okay? It doesn't happen. You don't just, as a teenager, as a random teenager that's not a family member
Right.
or it's your CFO's daughter, whatever. Randomly, you've got access to billionaires?
Right.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, people.
If you like that clip, there is plenty more where that came from. Click the link in the description below to subscribe to the News and Why It Matters YouTube channel to watch the full episode.